I guess it's time for me to look into it. But I'm pretty sure I come from the female side, my mom's side, who showed me right in front of my face how to remove herself from a toxic person. And see, the problem that I've had for the last 3 years around me, my surrounding so-called support system would wholeheartedly deny. Gotta put my cat up on the shelf, pardon me. Hi. Come on. Baby, come here. You want to go up? Yeah. Sorry, all of this is a drag. It's just, and the reason why it drags is because of people. See, if other people see, I've been busy empowering myself, like understanding well what just happened. See, my mom didn't stay in front of in an abusive relationship right in front of me. And the fact is, and I don't care what these people around, they're not close to me anymore, that I've been begging for their support, and they just have, I'm abandoned. So what I'm going to tell you, and this is none of anybody's business, but my mom extracted herself from being beaten. I remember, see, there was a point when I was a little girl and snapping into my own body, and trying to observe my surroundings. My mom was being beaten by my dad. There wasn't hardly a day that I didn't see her where she didn't have bruises on her, and that includes on her face. Now, that person who beats women, I don't care what the fuck you think you are. You're a psychopath, hun. You're a psychopath. You can't do that. You don't do that and not have something very disturbing going on with you. You're not a human. And so, something going on there. I lived my life, thinking, trying to feel sorry for him. I mean, like trying to figure out, even to this day, it's like, well, it's not his fault that he turned out that way. There's such a complex thing going on. These are just people. He has his issues from his childhood that he gets. See, I just figure he couldn't have kids. And it made him frightened, and he had to make up every excuse, include how fearful he was of that woman, that he had to fucking hit her and sock on her and try and change her from what she was just somebody who said, no, I am love, and you need to get out of my house now because I need love, and you can't do it, and it's scaring the fucking shit out of you, and too bad. She was so amazing, that woman, because she never put her kids in between any of it. What I gathered is that she wanted to have kids, and she knew her time was going, and she, by the time she was 29, I think she was 28 when she first had my brother, and then she had me when I was later, and she had gone through a marriage with a multimillionaire, which is like, it says, well, maybe my mom had a karma with that, but she made sure she can, oh God, this story. She made sure she can make a nest and own her nest. She's not living with some guy and strung out. What I gathered from my mom is that it didn't really need men, not for money. She's standing in line at the welfare, doing food stamps at one point, and getting by somehow without really, I don't hear her saying, that fucking guy doesn't know how to work. He didn't bring me money. I better go to court. She would never do that. And that was needed, but I never felt that she got support from my dad. I never felt the support from my dad from age 5, and that's where I'm tripping out on that. It's like, and I never had that support all my life, and the things that I did to get support, like that was just completely atrocious, really. The way that you would throw yourself at men who were not capable of being there for you or loving you, and that kind of thing. But looking at this and analyzing it, really always looking at it and not being so unconscious that you're gonna. Well, it's bad enough, I've had a see, I would go up into the mountains, and kind of shelter myself away from what? Well, I didn't have any support. I guess it would have bon wiser to get on my feet and get a career and get that support, which was what? Money? Now I just got the vision of, did you see how ugly everybody's getting chasing money? I mean, I was chasing money up until the age 50 instead of hiding out in the mountains and just meditating and playing guru, which people do know me. When I was playing music, I was coined the term, I was called a master. And I'm like, oh, yeah, good, cool, good, good. I'm glad. I wasn't out to impress anybody. I'm just being me. Thank God I have my grandmother right. No, I didn't end up here for no reason. Dave's one half of my other my family. My grandmother's great grandpa builds this home, and I'm deeply connected to that. You know, I have all. We're just like mutts. We have all this blood and combination of all these things going around, and so I'm so fortunate to have branched off and gone the way of meditation. See, that's the thing is I'm not really living my life not getting the best things from my dad. I mean, it wasn't all that terrible. He tried to hand me the best things. He thought he was doing something great, studying psychology and all this stuff. But when you have kids, babes, it takes the saying goes, it takes you back. And a lot of people think, oh, tra-la-la, it takes you back to when you were a kid. Okay, yeah, no. Do you remember when you were a kid? Those fucking neglectful people around you and how you what happened with my dad would be terrifying. He lived in a very terrible it was just unfortunate. A lot of kids couldn't tell what was happening there. The story is just is terrible, and he by the time he was 16, he enlisted himself in military police. He became a military police officer in Iceland, posing as an 18-year-old. He passed. He put himself through all kinds of school, and so he has a respectable life. But but really, there's that base thing. There's that programming, right? That wiring that says, wait a minute, if you start beating on your wife and then your kids are watching it, and you're claiming that you're somebody that helps people as a psychologist and stuff, it's like, nah, something you perhaps need to go and sit. And that's kind of like what he did. It's weird. And that story I just told, a lot of people are like, you just don't know. And it's like, you know what? Fuck you! I have faculties and I know what I'm looking at. And I thank God that I can see it because really all my life I never let men kind of trample all over me. No way. That beating thing and bullying and because they aren't mature enough to handle something. And actually, now that I think about it, he was probably deathly afraid of my mom. She is not him. They are opposites. This is a woman and he is a man. And my experience with me is that men won't have anything to do with strong women and empowered women and women that know how to play and are I was about to say sexually free. A lot of them, and I've experienced literally shivering fear in some of them who are, when you look at them, they're narcissists, babe. Whatever that definition is, I see it as somebody so non-self-reflecting that they'll actually talk about their spouses or their girlfriends very negatively, and how it's all their fault, and she's such a fucking blah blah blah, and does this, I do that for her, and do this for her, and she's so on blah blah blah, and you don't know them very long, but now you're like, oh my God, and the first thing you think if you're healthy is like, well, this could be any next person, even their friend, and they'll end up talking to somebody about you, about that person, or about you. If it's you, they talk about you, and of course I was used as a scapegoat, and that person just tried to, and on top of it, they were deathly afraid. I could tell they were like, and they were like, I'm gonna call the police! I'm gonna call the police! I was just called the police on by a man, so-called, over there because I had a voice, and I'm raising my voice. And then here comes what? A bunch of other guys all grouped up on me saying, and what's the result of their interaction with me? Oh, that I'm crazy. Well, that's a common narcissistic thing. You have a reaction to them pouring asphalt around and possibly causing health problems, and it's an environmental disaster. And you're saying, "Fuck you! This is bullshit. Why can't you stop doing this?" And you're raising your voice and being a little different. So what? You don't usually do it, but then they're like, "Ah, you're crazy. God, we're going to pray for you." And it's like, you know what? You don't have the same God as I do. Because if you did, you wouldn't have poured that asphalt like that. You would have thought twice and said, "No, that's not harmonious. Not even to my body." So, or the environment. So, this is intense time really with Scorpio. And it's like, wow, no wonder why we have some problems with all these matters, subconscious coming up. And so, God, 10 minutes of telling you my personal life, and and it's none of anybody's business. But I don't have a good idea of counseling out there. I mean, sure, I'll try it and see if anybody can go in and make me feel better. But really, I was doing, like I said, my mom did that in front of me, and then I've been empowering myself with the information, just knowing, like, nah, you stay away from most of these people that act like they're interested, but they're interested in what's going on in their head about you. And then watch out, because if you don't end up being whatever it is, then and they find out that they're just a lack fucking luster or whatever, and they want to beat on you, and they're afraid of what they see because the camera is turning inward, and they're like, ah, and it's like, you fucking chicken shits. Half-baked fucking things that need spiritual work. And real alive women are here. You need to take responsibility that that's what you're here to do. In Buddhism, Thich Nhat Hanh called them the practitioner. Doesn't have to be a woman, I don't think, but I'm suspecting, and this is what science is showing me, and I don't like it at all. I would like to seek refuge from the whole confusion. I don't want any of it. This game that men and women are playing. Well, let's rise above a little bit and be a good friend called pure awareness. Yes, we're going through an experience. Wow, you're one side, I am the other. It's supposed to be a compliment. But if one side isn't getting their intelligence on, and they get really insecure over that and jealous over the other side who just has that naturally, there you go. There's the problem. And you need to go into your microcosms, really. I mean, how I just went in and pulled it apart. And my main thing that is chicken shit is that the people around me who are actually, they're suffering from taking the side of the narcissist and casting out the ones who are actually healers and trying to heal the situation and living as healing. Who, see, how do you heal? How do you want some magical thing? How do you do it? You just look at it and say, that's exactly what took place. That's what happened. That's what's working there. There is the truth. It's not a fantasy that I just told you in the beginning here. That's what happened in my life. And my mom showed past with flying colors as an empath, a loving person who loved herself enough and said, no, I'm going to find love in my life. I will get what I need as somebody who has a kid and a house and all this shit. And she was responsible enough to even tell me, you know what, Shauna, you have your life, I have mine. Because I was getting jealous of her activity, right, with other men and stuff. But the truth is, I learned things from these guys who bothered to take their time and lower themselves and talk to me and say, hey, would you like to go for a trip in my rig? Hey, check me out doing whatever. And I learned, and I learned from them. You're supposed to have people. See, my mom would be one to say early on to me, I'm not the only one who's going to show you things in life. There's going to be other people that are going to show you things that I can't even show you. And she, see, a lot of people are so selfish, unlike that, and I was just letting you know. I mean, and this is none of anybody's business, but I'm trying to work through something that seems impossible, as far as rehashing my abandonment issues and not being well supported and not taken care of. And it's like, wait a minute, no, that's not my problem, babes. I've been doing the tedious job, really. Well, I guess it's like, well, why haven't you found somebody yet? Well, because it's just yet. It's yet. I come from the Librian generation, and these people are going to prove to us that, you know what? You probably won't find true love until you get through your ideals and fucking with a narcissist and even having kids and get rid of them and sitting and going, what the fuck? Because your kids are like, could care less about you people because you're fucking. But then finally, age 50 or even 55, you find something real because you work through all that shit, and then you find love and you're able to just celebrate your potential, and maybe if you're lucky, your grandkids come back to you and say, God, you guys are so interesting and whatever, and it's a good example to just having moved on away from a toxic situation, and dreaming and staying locked in hangman position, and stagnating. It's the Capricornian vibe with the money and the rules, and it's like, did you know that is just a supposed blueprint? It's good to have structure, yes, but find out really after a while if it's starting to be something that is torture. Take your kids away from it, first of all. Don't That's not a good example for the kids, and that's where we need to get back to tribal living. It's like, nah, just these people are crazy. They can't seem to get away from each other. Now they're fighting and beating on each other, huh? I believe in love. That's what my mother taught me, who Jesus was. Jesus is love, if there is another name for her. And the book is that Jesus, the pamphlet that she would have left behind about her life and what happened there. And it's unfortunate that the narcissist over there is so deadly afraid of, first of all, figuring out that they're wrong. Wrong. It's hard to get things right. You have to make a mistake and then and you got to get past the element of feeling stupid. We're not trying to make you feel that way. You seem to cannot get past a little hump. A little hump, you little immature, half-baked, whatever you are. We love you.